In this video, I'll be teaching you how to use the pen tool in Photoshop. If you find this video useful, consider subscribing and please hit the like button. Let's get into it.
So we're in Photoshop now, and to find the pen tool, you come on this left side and this is where the pen tool is located. If you can't find your toolbox, you can just go on Windows and make sure this is ticked. Alright, when you press on the pen tool, there are two things you need to consider, and that is that you're creating a path or a shape. If you're creating a path, I'll show you an illustration of what a path is. The difference between a path and a shape is that a path is, if I have one anchor point here and I create another anchor point, you can see that it's just a line and there's no stroke or fill in it. I'll show you what a stroke and a fill is in a second. But if I was to take the move tool and I zoom in into the line that I just created, you can see that it's just an invisible line, if you can say that. All right, and that's what a path is. It's used to draw selections around images. If you want to cut like something out of an image, you usually use the path tool. Now, when you go back, and so right now, all you can see on the path tool, you can see that it gives you these options, right? If I go on a shape and I change the color to black, right? Or maybe color to blue, and I make a point here, all right. And the moment I go to another point, you can see a shape is being created. So that's the difference between a shape and the path. The shape gives you the option to have a fill and a stroke, and in the colors as well. If you don't want the color, you can press this icon, and if you want a color, you can just choose any of these colors, or you can change the color here as well. If you want a gradient, you can change the gradient or pattern as well. And the stroke is the same as well. If you want a stroke, so for example, if I want a black stroke, I give it a black and then increase the width of the stroke. All right. And if you want a different type of the stroke, you can give it as well. And if you want more like dashed lines, all you have to do is just reduce it a little bit. So with the pen tool, you can create curves, all right? And to create a curve, you have one point here and another point here, and you just have to drag, all right? The more you drag, the more steeper the curve gets, right? And as you can see, this line is called a handle, and this line affects this curve, all right? This line is going to affect the next curve that's being created. So when I press another point, you realize that this curves around. It doesn't go straight down. It curves around because of this line. And now if I want to adjust the curve, all I have to do is just hold Alt. All right, that's going to be different from Mac users, but Alt, and I can just control like this. And also when I hold Alt here, I can control this as well. When I press here, I drag it. All right, I don't leave my mouse. And the same thing, that's what you do to get that handle. If you just press on it, you're not going to get the handle. All right, so you have to press and drag, and that's basically what you have to do. Now we're going to practice that, creating this a curve with a circle. And if you can get this right, you can get anything. You can basically create anything with the pen tool. All right, so I'm going to create a circle here, and I'll take this out. Just going to position it. Okay, so with my pen tool now, just going to click away. So with my pen tool, make sure the path is selected. I press on here. So we're going to trace around this circle. I press on here. And the next point I'm going to press, I need to press and hold it and then drag to make it a perfect circle. And then press and hold here. All right. Now I can leave it like that, or I can, so then Control Z, I can hold and drag, but it's not really needed because there's another, handle right here that I can just press on here and then use this handle to, fix it. Yeah, to fix the adjacent. So as you can see, the handle just affects this side and this handle affects that side. So the handles affect what is adjacent to. So this handle is adjacent to this curve, and this handle is adjacent to that curve. All right. Now when I want to go to the next one, I press and hold. All right. And try to make it as perfect as I can. And then this curve is right, this handle is right there, right? So when I press it, I just press on it and I hold Control and press on this dot, this point, sorry, and then use Alt, hold Alt, and just drag to make it perfect, right? So this is not a perfect square, or I mean a perfect circle. This is not a perfect circle, but you can see that if you're able to draw around a circle, then you can basically use the pen tool. Don't try to complicate it for yourself. It's that easy, and I think you can do it. So with that being said, we can try trace around subjects in an image. So I have this image I got from Unsplash, and I'll try trace around it. So you just zoom in, and usually, just to clarify, Photoshop actually has a way of you selecting subject out of a picture. So before you use the pen tool, I suggest maybe go check this out first. So you have the subject selected, and then select and press subject, all right? But for this video, I want us to use a pen tool to cut the subject out. Sometimes the select subject doesn't really work properly because it doesn't select the picture perfectly if you don't have a good picture. So sometimes you have to use the pen tool to go about selecting a subject. All right, so with the pen tool, we're just going to zoom in, and then we're just going to go start from the bottom or any way you want, and just keep pressing, and just keep going. And you can see that as I go, I drag a little bit. That's something I've kind of taught myself to go a bit faster. Maybe it can help you. So I just, hold and drag. Obviously, I'm going too fast and I might not get a good selection, but just for the video so it doesn't take too long, I'll speed this section up. And yeah. And once you're done, make sure wherever you started from, make sure you end it as well. So as you can see, when I hover over it, there's a circle that shows up. So that means that's the end of the selection. Make sure you press that so that you capture the whole, pen that you've selected. Now, when you're here, you haven't really captured it properly. You've just selected the path that you want. So to get the subject out of the picture, you're going to right click and make selection and keep this as 0. Don't change anything here, and press OK. And now the subject has been selected, or the portion that you wanted from the picture has been selected. And you go on here and put a layer mask on it and click, and then the subject is selected. Obviously, if you look in deeper, I went a bit too fast. But with the help of a few tools like this, select a mask, when you go deeper into this, it actually helps you to get the hair and everything properly. But that's for another video. Just a few tricks. When you're on Photoshop, when you press P on your keyboard, you can get the pointer for the pen tool. All right, so that's a shortcut. And also remember that from one point to the next, you hold it and then you drag it, and then you can use Alt to adjust it. And then when you create the next point, this handle adjusts that.
And so, I hope you learned something new with pen tool. Pen tool is that simple. It's not that scary. When I first started, I was like, I don't want to touch this. I don't really it's too difficult. But it's actually easy when you learn the basics. And about the anchor points, the handles, drawing from one point to the other, and just creating a curve. It's that simple, right? Don't be scared about it. Just keep practicing, and I'm sure you get it. All right, so don't be scared about it. But with that being said, thank you for stopping by and watching my video. I'm really grateful and I appreciate you. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below for more tutorials, and I'll see you in the